I would encourage anybody to find a group or find a training partner, find somebody that's similar fitness that you can run with, because having conversation and sharing miles is, talk about endorphin high. I think the positive feelings we get after a run when you've got a good sweat in and you've shared great conversation, the bonding that occurs throughout that run, it is a really special feeling that keeps me coming back for more.
Okay, so talk to me about curiosity. What's your relationship with curiosity, and how does it motivate you to keep exploring what you can do?
I think curiosity is a driver for all of us. Definitely, I would say every runner that I encounter, that is a big piece of what drives them. And oftentimes, for those of us that aren't in this sport for financial reasons, we are in it purely for seeing what we can do. I think that is a big motivator. Curiosity around where are my limitations and what am I capable of. I think that is something that drives all of us, especially when you go to a race and you're not going for place. Really, go to a major marathon. You're not trying to beat the people around you. You're
Right.
trying to see, okay, how fast can I go?
Right.
And where will I hit the wall and what will happen when I get there? And that's something that I think is really amplified in ultramarathons, is that you have to be curious about the inner challenges and what kind of mental hurdles will you face throughout that process.
And you coach a lot of athletes. So how do you help the youth athletes find this curiosity and maybe spark a lifelong curiosity? And then for the adult athletes who may be more obsessed with the metrics, how do you help them get a little more qualitative versus quantitative?
With the high schoolers, I think a big thing is trying to have running be as fun as possible and have it be a welcoming place for anybody, no matter how fast they're running, and not throw a ton of mileage at kids. I don't coach at a school where we're trying to,
It's not a talent factory.
yeah, and certainly have good athletes, but for the most part, just trying to instill in them that running can be enjoyable. It's good for your health. It's good for your mental health, especially these days when kids spend so much time, there's so much pressure and social media and all of this, that to have an escape from all of that, where you're outside, you're getting fresh air, you're moving your body. I think that is what I hope that kids come away with, is seeing the value in that. And no matter how fast they're running a 5K or on the track. With the adults, something that I encourage my adult athletes to do is to try different distances and different surfaces. That's something that I'm big on with my own racing. And I think it's been key for me too, as far as staying healthy and enjoying it long term. It's been very, very helpful for me to train a lot on trails and roads. No matter what I'm training for, I will do both. And so I encourage athletes to try and mix it up. I think a lot of amateur athletes get stuck in their ways, doing the same routes, the same paces, the same surfaces in the same shoes. It's like, mix it up.
Try some Pumas.
Try different shoes, try different routes, try different, run faster once or twice a week, slow down the rest of the week, run on trails, go hiking, mix it up, do, cross training, whatever else, but to have some variety and sign up for something race wise that is a little out of your comfort zone, whether it's a distance or surface.
So you talked about play and emphasize that with the youth athletes. And you talked about the joy of it as you became a runner, running around in your backyard, and that art of play. I find that to be really easy to chase here in this playground, this outdoor playground that we get to have in Boulder. But even in Boston, like we were, through November Project or through Heartbreakers, like the ability to use the place we live and the hills and the roads and the people and just like making it more fun, or like picking a route and seeing how good you can get on it, or finding the hilliest route you could possibly find, or finding the flattest route you could, or finding the most downhill. Like there are things that we can do that, as they say, spark joy and bring this element of fun or play into this thing that's really dumb if you think about it. Like, we're doing a thing that our body doesn't want us to do over time.
It's hard. Yeah.
So the best way to continue to do it is to make it fun and make it enjoyable, because ultimately, like, our body is trying to make us stop doing it.
Yeah, I don't think that this necessarily is play, but that's where I think running with other people comes in so handy. It's like, you run with other people, it's going to be a lot more enjoyable. And I think there's two sides of the issue. There's a lot of people that go to group runs, maybe the run isn't fast enough or challenging enough, and they're like, screw it. I need to run my own pace. They're too pace focused. And then on the other side, I think there's people that show up to group runs and the group is faster than them. They get left behind and they're just discouraged. So I would encourage anybody to find a group or find a training partner. Find somebody that's similar fitness that you can run with, because having conversation and sharing miles is, talk about endorphin high. I think the positive feelings we get after a run, when you've got a good sweat in and you've shared great conversation, the bonding that occurs throughout that run, it is a really special feeling that keeps me coming back for more.
Totally. I had a conversation with my coach about this, and he called out that, like, my ability to run fast is heavily influenced by whether I'm solo or whether I'm with other people, and, like, more so than the average person. And so when I moved to Boulder, all I did was run with a group, and my long runs were faster than they ever been before, despite coming to altitude. And I just felt stronger when I was in a group. And it's all about figuring out, like, what makes you tick. And so if people are listening and they're like, oh, I've never run with a group, try it. This episode is coming out in early 2025. Like, do something new this year, try something new, and maybe it'll spark that joy in a way that it hasn't before. And if you do run with groups, invite a friend who hasn't and bring them to a group run, because there's also a huge difference between a group run and a run with Alfie, who has entered the chat as he's licking Tucker here.
Dogs make great training partners too.
Dogs make great training partners. They don't make good podcast viewers because they sometimes knock stuff over, but we've just avoided that. So that was good. Alfie's going to go fold laundry now. So as we're talking about 2025 and maybe doing something new this year, how are you thinking about helping your athletes set goals for this year? How are you helping your athletes think about how to structure their year?
It's a great question. It's a great time to be thinking about that. And I'm not a huge New Year's resolution person, but I do like to set some goals. I think a new year, a new month, whatever it may be, is a good way of kind of marking that time period where we can set some specific goals for that time. And as we talked about at the beginning about being a work in progress, just to tie this in a little bit, my focus for 2024 was trying to search out some of my blind spots and find ways that I could be a better person, less harm on the environment, those sorts of things. I was just very curious about, okay, what am I doing that I could do better? So I think as we head into the new year, whatever that may be for you, whether it's in running or not, find something that you can improve, something that you're passionate about. Because you have to have passion. If you just write down, I want to run X time in X race, if you're not passionate about it, probably isn't going to happen.